Troy.
Yeah.
Special show, folks. Just saying. This is Tequila Tango Charlie today.
Yeah. How about it, Charles? So we talk about different palates, and so what's happening in the vertical of spirits today, tequila is sneaking into the vertical of bourbon, Charles.
I was going to say, you've been educating me here. I'm not familiar with any of these. We're kind of getting ourselves up to speed here on some of this, and so hey, look, you guys need to stick through here because this is the tequila guy. I'm the bourbon whiskey guy. This is the tequila guy. We're going to kind of go through this. You're going to help me educate some of you guys, and have a good time along the way here. So,
Whiskey Tango Charlie, follow us on my passion, tequila. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Tango Charlie, but today we're going to talk about tequilas and how it plays a part in the bourbon world, because many of our friends, Charles, are drifting over towards the tequila world where I started.
Yep, you're well. Yeah, hey, I don't know about, could be drifting, and I think depending on where you at and the event that you're in, we do some beach stuff, we do some vacations, and the fun part is you don't always want to have a bourbon. I kind of do 90% plus, but you're helping broaden the palate out some more yet again, and here we go. We're gonna explore some tequilas, and Troy's leading the way here. So here we go.
It's funny. So I talk about it all the time. If you've ever heard me talk about ice cream and what your palate is, and if we compare ice cream and your palate, and everyone enjoyed vanilla ice cream, it'd be a very vanilla world. Okay. So I started out in the tequila world, really enjoyed some tequilas, and broadened my horizons up into the whiskeys and the bourbons, and I'm sneaking back over to tequilas now because they're being aged in bourbon barrels, Charles.
Well, yeah. So, yes, we were talking about this a little bit ahead of time, but I don't want to jump down the line there. But, the cool part is this. We talk about it all the time. Enjoy. Don't be afraid to stretch out and try some new things. Don't get kind of stuck in this one deal. Bourbons, the whiskeys, the ryes, the browns. Okay, well, we actually have some brown water in here, to some degree. I mean, when you start looking at some of these, this one over here, aged in Elijah Craig. So, I think, look, we're talk. Let's pour something.
Let's not pour any. So let's talk about these a little bit.
All right.
So I want to go down the line here. So here we have a Patron Blanca, which is actually just like a white dog if we're comparing it to our bourbon friends out there. This is an estate bottle. This right here was made with agaves right outside the estate front door. It's meant traditionally in a copper pot still. It is how traditionally or tequila, and I'm going to say that 100 times.
Yep.
Let's not put $1 in the pot every time.
All right. I hear you.
So this Blanca is how tequila is meant to be enjoyed. Right here, our next one is this Respazol. So dig this. This is a Sazerac product. It won the 2021 World Tequila Championship right here.
World.
So this just isn't a award-winning Respazol, which has been aged between 60 days and a year.
Okay.
In a toasted barrel. Right.
Okay.
To bring out some of those talents. But this is the #1 world's best tequila right now, 2021. So very honored to have that bottle on the table.
Just saying.
No. So our next one is an Anejo. So Anejos are 1 to 3 years in age in a oak barrel. It doesn't necessarily have to be American white oak. It can be an oak barrel from somewhere else, like a Spaniard barrel, right? Then we're going to go to an extra Anejo, which really what I want to talk about today is these 2 bottles that I have right here that have been aged in bourbon barrels. This one is an Elijah Craig, and then we have one here from 2015, has not even had the seal broke on it yet, and this is an extra reserve Anejo that was in a white oak barrel. So we really want to talk about that, and we have my friend,
the little worm,
my little friend. Yes. So
wow,
this was my intro into tequila years and years ago. Good friend Jimmy Williams. We went and bought this bottle. I think we were in Myrtle Beach when I bought this bottle. It's probably been 30 years ago, if I put it. The cork is starting to deteriorate. This is a Respizol, which is also about a 60-day aging process. But this is a very old bottle. It still has...
It's a little dusty.
On it.
Dusty, folks. We have a Dusty with us here. Wow.
So what I want to introduce to Charles really here is let's go ahead and pour some Blanco, which is really traditionally how the tequila is meant to be tasted.
The Blanco.
This one is done in a copper pot still. They take the agave, 100% blue agaves. They cut the leaves off them. They take the heart, the piña, and in this particular case, they put it into a brick oven, and they toasted it. They do that for about 36 hours. They pull those out, crush them, take the agave juice, and then ferment it, and then put it right into a bottle. So Charles, there's 3 things in this: agave, water, and yeast. That's it.
Wow. So this, I'm familiar. Listen, obviously the name Patron. That's a brand. I'm not familiar with this. Obviously, the estate release, but the Patron, and I've had the other Patron. How does this rank with? I want to say more of the mainstream Patron, right? Is it?
So not mainstream at all. This particular bottle is an estate bottle. It's made with the agave right there outside the front door of the estate there at Patron. So this is a very special bottle. It's really truly meant to be drank so that you can taste the agave. And I don't want to get into tequilas. Really, I want to get down here and talk about bourbons and how the tequilas work together. So please stay with us. Don't get lost on these tequilas. We've got to start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere. I love it. So beautiful. I'm just going to say this is beautiful. Folks, this is like putting a handful of cinnamon Red Hots right in your mouth. It's just cinnamony. I'm so shocked at what's on the palate here. Very sweet and cinnamony. This is just an 80 proof. It's 80 proof, and I think every one of these, there was an 84 in this, so we're all in the 80 range. So this is not something that's high proof, barrel strength. You know, and the bourbon guys, you know, we look at all that kind of stuff. So this is good stuff. Wow.
So as Charles is getting ready to pour our second one, which happens to be the world champion tequila for 2021. Really excited about this pour right here. This is a Respizol, right? But Charles, really what I want to talk to you about is not the Respizol, which is about a 60-day to 1 year aging process that happens there. What they're doing is they're taking the toast of the barrel and pulling out some of the tannins that will give you those hints of vanilla. And you should be able to pick up some hints of vanilla on this. This is a Sazerac product. What's so interesting about agave is it can go years without water, Charles.
Yeah, I was doing that. So yeah, it does. It sort of gave you on the label a 6 to 8 month is kind of the in the barrel. kind of a thing. So it's kind of like, well, it's kind of a 6 to 8 month range, and I'm sure that it's kind of like anything, when they're craft finishing, sometimes that barrel may take 5.5 to 6 months, and sometimes it might be just a little bit at 8. But you know what, they have to sample them and say, yeah, this one's ready. Boom, pull it out. So, again, to me, it's what I call the traditional tequila nose. If you smell good tequila, and you just get that right up front, and I'm sure, folks, you've had bad tequila, right? We've all had some bad tequila, but this one. So listen, Troy, this is very similar to the First Estate.
Yep.
I get the cinnamony punch, but you do pick up that slight oakiness. You get some of that from the aged barrel.
So what they
Softens.
do, Charles, is they take like an old bourbon barrel, they whittle out some of the char, and they go ahead and re-toast the barrel.
Wow.
And they can use that barrel 2, 3, 4 times before it really starts to leak. And they're trying, obviously trying to save money.
Maximizing, yeah.
Yeah. But this is a Sazerac product. The big distillers have gone down and purchased a lot of the estates down there. And they've kind of changed the way that tequila is being processed and made and brought into the United States, and not just here, but throughout the world. And we'll touch a little bit of base on that as we move down the line here, Charles.
Wow.
As you're pouring the next one,
We're doing number 3. Woo.
which is an Anejo, right? So this is from 1 to 3 years aged in a oak barrel, typically a bourbon barrel. So I mentioned about the agave right up front to Charles, and he didn't even bite on it. So these agave plants are millions and millions of years old, and they actually have a reverse to any other plant in the world, which means at night they open up and they grow. Not during the day when the sunlight's out. They close up during the day, and then they start to open up just as the dew starts to fall. And the way the leaves are designed, the water sits up on the leaves, goes down into the piña, the heart of the tequila, and that's how, Charles, they can go years and years without
any rain.
Without any rain.
So this is typically, these are all really going to be almost desert type plants.
Like a cactus type, right?
It's in the cactus family. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
So, right, in Mexico and arid and dry places, I get that. And so
why is a bottle of tequila $400?
Think about that. So think about it. What drives the prices? The difference in the prices. We kind of understand that on the bourbon side. It's about the age and all that. And these are all, Troy. I mean, we talked about this earlier. The longest age here was a couple of years at best.
No, it was 6.
6. Well,
Yeah.
okay, 6.
6.
But still, 6 years old is nothing. And when you're talking about bourbon, 6 years old is really nothing. When you're talking about 10, 12, 15-year-old age bourbon, then you're talking some mucho money.
Yeah.
So what's causing the price changes?
So unlike a stalk of corn that can be grown in a year, wheat is grown every year, barley is grown every year, corn is grown every year. An agave plant doesn't really get harvest between 8 and 12 years, and some of the very good tequilas are having agave that are 25 years old. So not only do they have the aging on the front side, Charles, they've got the aging on the back.
So the plant itself takes that long to mature out.
Now, there is some processes going on, and we're not going to get into it on this show,
right.
where they're doing some, what I'm going to call hokey shit. I'm just going to call it out. It's not really how traditional bourbon was. It's kind of industrialized, but not going to talk about it because I really want to get down here to these extra Anejos that have been aged in like the Elijah Craig bottle, Charles.
Wow. So big change. We were kind of in the cinnamon world over here. We hit this, and it's just gigantic vanilla bomb. This bad boy right here, vanilla bomb. Wow.
So this is a 1 to 3 year old aged in an oak barrel. Obviously, you can the caramels and
you're starting to pick it up as we progressed along.
Right. So this is one of my very favorite go-tos. It's quite affordable, under $100, but still very tasty. And this is the one that I'll pull out when friends come by and go, "Would you like some tequila?" And Charles, they'll say, "Oh, hell no."
Because we've got that block. We've got that, right?
Yeah.
Right. And
in college, right?
I don't want to call out names, but we've got those tequilas that no way, no how. So yeah, I got you.
So Charles, as we talk about the Guave, and you can go ahead and pour us the extra Anejo. As we talk about the Guave itself, and we talked about 8 to 12 years is what the maturity of this plant does. As they take the plant, cut the leaves off it, throw it into an oven and cook it for a little while. Charles, do you realize that this plant only pollinates one time in its life? Once.
That's pretty sad.
So it grows a flower, right?
All right.
You want to dig this shit?
It's like Santa Claus. He only does it once a year.
It's pollinated by a bat, a
bat.
long-nosed bat at night. So millions of years old plant, only grows at night, shuts down during the day, truly only gets its water from the dew in the air, and is pollinated by a bat.
And these great folks down there have figured out how to harvest this and do it through a distillation and make some alcohol. What a great world we live in, man. Woo.
All right, as we're reaching for
this is Elijah Craig barrel. This one,
right? So as we're reaching for that, I'm going to tell the folklore, right?
Okay.
So everybody's got folklore, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. We've coasted down the river, went to school both ways uphill in the snow.
Yeah.
Everybody's got that. So here's the folklore of this. These are guave plants that were around for millions of years. All of a sudden, lightning strikes, hits one of these plants, burns the plant up, and the natives went in and drank of the juice. And it was very sweet. It was a nectar. It was almost like a sugar, because at that time it wasn't fermented. So the Spaniards, when they came over and got into Mexico, they already understood how to make spirits in the fermenting process, right? But they get over here into Mexico and they're like, yeah, we got nothing to use. And they were like, what is this sugar water that you're cooking from this agave plant? And the next thing you know, the Spaniards are making tequila. And that's kind of how that's the folklore behind it.
All right.
So talk to me about this one, Charles.
This one, listen, when you hit this one right here, Elijah Craig, the bourbon really comes right to the nose. So this gets right to my familiar. We talk about sensories and your memorization and all that stuff. This one hits like, wow. But it's a much sweeter on the nose than you get the hints of the bourbon, but you can tell it's a much sweeter. So if you think about the sweetest bourbon you've ever nosed, this is probably above that, just going to say. But pleasant. And I get a hint of cherry on this one right off the bat.
So this Sazerac product, what's really interesting about it, they do one in a George T. Stagg barrel. So you gotta find them before you can buy them, right? So I happen to have one here that I found when I was on a trip out to Texas. And Charles, I'm going to open that up while you enjoy.
You're opening this one. So this Elijah Craig, you really get beautiful hints of the bourbon, the barrel that it was in there. Typically, I've kind of lost.
It's childproof.
It's childproof. Wow. You know what's really interesting? Even in this one, I've had the hints of the. I want to say the finish, the aftertaste. You know, you kind of pick up that tequila. This, I've lost that in that, and this is called a.
That's a
Anejo.
Anejo.
Extra age.
Extra Anejo, which is
Extra.
more than 3 years.
Okay, so
Right?
so you really do lose that. I want to say the tequila aftertaste. It's not bad. I'm just saying you always know that's that tequila aftertaste. You lose that with this extra age stuff, and
Right.
I'm really digging the oakiness and more traditional. I mean traditional bourbon.
So I want to talk about this one a little bit. So Lunazol double barreled Respizol. So this particular one isn't aged as an extra anejo like we thought. This is probably 60 days to a year in a barrel. It is reserve special in a wheated bourbon barrel finish, right?
Wow.
So I'm kind of excited about this because this is a double barrel one. And you typically, in today's world, don't walk into a liquor store and find a bottle on the shelf that says 2015.
Oh wow!
So it did have dust on it when I found it.
Oh,
so
wow.
Charles, this is a dusty. And like any bourbons that we drink, they're meant to be shared
Hey,
with a friend.
wow!
So let's see what.
So great nose. This one comes back to more of the hint of the what I call the tequila nose.
So that's the agave, the cooked
The
agave.
the guava, yeah.
That's the.
But I get the cinnamon. Now the cinnamon's coming back strong here.
Wow. So Charles, that's got to be the smoothest one of the grape. Is that?
Okay. If you're a fan of cinnamon red hots, and I do, I love them. I love those things. This one, and this one.
Hang on, I'm going to move my little friend.
Yeah, that little guy.
Yeah, we're going to take him out
the
of the
Dusty.
The little Dusty. We're going to take him out of the show.
I'm telling you right now, these two and that one right there, if you are a big fan of cinnamon red hots, that's your drink. We're neat. There's no ice cubes involved. It's a sip. Wonderful. If you are a big fan of vanilla, and who hates a vanilla, right? Big vanilla, that's your friend right there. Big vanilla, get that one right there.
Yeah. Extra Anejo. This one here has a lot of the woody taste of the oaks, a lot of the caramels, and the vanillas in it.
You really do get it really closely resembles if a bourbon. And if you really want to have a fun time with somebody, this would be fun. Troy, this would be fun.
So hang on before you say that.
I would put that right there. I would pour that in a blind tasting of bourbons, and people would lose their minds.
So dig this. How rare this is, if you can imagine the George T. Stagg over here, if we could find one of those. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
So go ahead and leave a comment in the line if you know where we can get some of that. Love to have a bottle of it.
Oh, yeah.
So this is bottle number 217 of 280.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If that gives you any kind of idea.
Yeah.
So this is not a big run of this.
Yeah. That would be fun to have. I'm going to have to look at that. Folks, if y'all do a tasting event with us at some point in a private deal or something, and y'all were, and we're having fun, and y'all were saying, yeah, that was really cool. I can't put my finger on that. Don't be surprised if I slip a tequila in on you guys. I'm telling you, that's going to be fun, dude. That one right there, fun. So.
Tequila Tango Charlie, having a little fun on Sensory Training Friday. We hope you've enjoyed it. We want you to follow us on all the, social media out there on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, and I think we even have a Twitter account that sometimes.
And merch. Don't forget our merch, man. We have glasses, we have coasters, we're adding more merch all the time. So
you're sounding like a damn commercial.
God,
I said we weren't going to do that.
I know, dude. But we got to pay the bills, right? Hey, folks. Hey,
to the bourbon lifestyle.
Yeah. What's the best tequila you've had? Let's ask that question. What's your best tequila?
The bottle that I've been hanging on to for a long time to share with a friend. Come on.
Come on. Cheers, folks.
Cheers.
Wow.
That's the best of it.